said amount was the one that was supposed to be used by the QCPD during the botched operations. PDEA Director General Wilkins Villanueva denied that the cash was missing, but it wasn't clarified where the amount was brought after the incident. Meanwhile, the death toll from the misencounter has increased to 4, but details regarding the latest fatality have yet to be disclosed. For their part, NBI officials held a meeting this morning to discuss the conduct of their separate probe into the incident. Both the PNP and PDEA are insisting that they were conducting legitimate buy-bust operations before the misencounter that led to the deaths of 4 people. But why is it important to distinguish a buy-bust from a sell-bust operation? To answer that question, we have with us the PUP College of Law Dean and Criminal Law Professor Jemmy Lito Festin. Good afternoon, Dean. Thank you for sharing your time with us this afternoon. Could you kindly distinguish for us as the NCRPO says a sell-bust may have caused the misencounter between the PNP and the PDEA forces. Just to clarify, what is the idea behind a sell-bust and what makes it so different from the legal buy-bust?
Okay, a pleasant good afternoon to you and to everyone. I really don't know the concept of a sell-out bust, if there's such term as that, but there is a buy-bust operation. I think the issue pertains to a basic difference between what is entrapment and instigation. So a buy-bust operation, as established, is a legitimate form of entrapment. So what is an entrapment? An entrapment is where the police officer, okay, devises lawful ways and means on how to apprehend the offender. Okay, that means to say that the means, okay, must originate from that of the mind of the criminal and does not exempt him from any criminal liability. While in instigation, okay, the criminal design originates from the mind of the police officer or the authorities. The instigator practically induces the would-be defendant into committing the offense, and himself would become a co-principal. And without such instigation, the crime would not have been committed. In this case, okay, it would exempt the accused from any criminal liability.
Right, Dean.
So
At this point, both parties are saying that they both were conducting legitimate police operations at the time. Where would then be the misapprehension here if you're the PDEA or if you are the PNP? Where does the initial authority reside to conduct a buy-bust operation that's completely legal? And where is that line that is crossed when it becomes instigation?
I think the report is still sketchy. They still have no definite report on what actually transpired. But as I was saying, if it is a buy-bust operation, that's a legitimate operation. Because in a buy-bust operation, the offender at the onset has the possession of the illicit drug. And the apprehending officer would already would only engage into buying the same, okay, to entrap the person. But insofar as if there's really a such thing as a sellout, you would imagine that it will be the authorities who will be selling, okay, the illicit drug for at the onset. So therefore, it is illegal because they're now in possession of an illicit drug. And at that time, that is just my legal opinion, the would-be buyer would not be committing any crime except if without the inducement of the seller. So I don't know the concept of a sellout. Actually, I haven't read any decision on the matter rendered by the Supreme Court. But I could not imagine it will be the authorities will be selling and inducing another to buy from them.
Right, Dean,
Basically,
what is clear according to the report so far is that there was some form of miscommunication between and among the authorities, whoever was in charge of this particular buy-bust operation. But then, could you walk us through what it takes to have a legitimate buy-bust operation, and who are the people who need to be involved, and what authorities need to be notified so that these things don't happen?
well, we go back to insofar as the illicit drugs are concerned, okay, the primary agency will be responsible would be the PDEA. That is their mandate. But the PNP is also charged with maintenance of peace and order, okay, public safety. Now, both bodies can conduct a legitimate buy-bust operation. But insofar as the PNP is concerned, there must be a prior coordination with PDEA. So this is in the conduct of the buy-bust operation, and this is pursuant to the implementing rules of 9165, particularly Section 86-A. So siguro, we will look into whether there is a coordination made by the PNP with the PDEA.
Right, Dean, it's clear then
Okay.
where the issue may lie. No, it's whether or not
Yeah,
this particular procedure was in fact followed, but then what penalties may be imposed. I mean, who can be held accountable whether each or either party is found guilty of violating these protocols?
well, it depends upon the result of the investigation. If there could be administrative proceedings, suspension, as well as dismissal from the service. Those are the administrative aspect. But if what they did is actually illegal, or if uh, upon investigation there is actually selling for their own personal benefit, then they will be liable criminally for violation of Comprehensive Drugs Act. So there could be administrative proceeding as well as criminal proceedings for those who will be found liable if there will be a finding to that effect.
Right, administrative and criminal proceedings for those who are found liable. Thank you again for your time. Again, that was PUP Law Dean Gemilito Festin. We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The government believes that the country's economy could fully reopen by the last quarter of the year. That is, if the country's vaccination program will roll out as expected. Speaking on Business World Live, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion, noted that the public spending is expected to jump by the fourth quarter as the 2022 election nears. Concepcion said increased spending will help boost the economy on top of stimulus packages like the CREATE bill. Concepcion added that this will also provide small businesses an opportunity to bounce back, or at least be cash positive.
The year 2021, which is Christmas, I believe that is going to be the chance for many of our MSMEs to really get back on their feet, not maybe yet, at least cash positive. And that is when the economy should really fully open up. No? And that's why we are really putting a lot of pressure on the arrival of the vaccine.
But for the business sector, it's still too early to celebrate. On One News's agenda, Francis Lim, president of the Financial Executives Institute, or PHINEX, said the government should first work on speeding up its acquisition and rollout of vaccines. Lim added that business groups have already taken steps to secure shots for its member companies.
We have to speed up the acquisition of vaccines and roll out of the vaccination program, because unless we do this, businesses will find it difficult to plan and determine when they can resume full operations.
The number of barangays in Pasay that are currently under lockdown has climbed to 56. Speaking to Cito Beltran on One News's agenda, Pasay City Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit OIC Mico Llorca attributed the spike of COVID-19 cases in the city to large households. However, Llorca noted that they have yet to determine whether the increase stems from the UK variant or another emerging variant. One B117 case was earlier reported in the city, and the patient has already recovered. Pasay LGU is now awaiting genome sequencing results from the health department.
Naghahanda po kami na sa kung ano man yung magiging resulta po ng sequence po na ginawa po namin. Kasi right now po talaga, highly suspicious pa lang po kami based po dun sa galaw po ng mga kaso namin sa community.
Over in the United Kingdom, Queen Elizabeth II has finally spoken up about her vaccination against COVID-19. The 94-year-old monarch advocated for vaccination in a video call with the UK's health officials. The Queen said anyone who is offered the vaccine should take it up because it is our best chance to protect ourselves, our families, and our communities.
Well, once you've had the vaccine, you have a feeling of, you're protected, which is, I think, very important. And as far as I can make out, it was quite harmless. It was very quick. And I've had lots of letters from people who've been very surprised by how easy it was to get the vaccine. And the jab it didn't hurt at all.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.